Stealth rules! Being hidden and obtaining surprise at the start of combat is one of the most powerful tactical advantages in the game, but the rules for it is a mess. Why is there so much confusion when it comes to these rules? It's because it's badly written, and it gets so much worse. The rule that makes it make sense is stuck in the D&D Next playtest material. Yeah, the correct rule is stuck in limbo. It never made prints. Welcome to Pack Tactics. So to save both of us a lot of time, I'm going to assume you've looked into hiding yourself or seen a video about it. It's a mess. Tons of people get it wrong even reading it. And they'll straight out tell you they struggle to understand this. It's complicated and unclear. A lot of these rules surrounding hiding is annoying. Flipping back and forth, it's difficult to run the game completely rules as written when it comes to this subject. Everyone runs this differently. Tabletop Builds made a fantastic article breaking down absolutely everything you should know about stealth and surprise. They also added more info about Pass Without Trace that I didn't even know about. I recommend you read it, especially if you don't know how hide and surprise works rules as written. Like I said, I really hope you've looked into it yourself and know what I'm talking about. It's badly written, but that wasn't always the case. Let's go back in time to D&D Next. It's pretty much the demo of D&D 5e before the core rulebooks came out. It's very interesting. Fun fact, bonus action wasn't even a thing back then. That's how ancient this is. I'm going to read to you the stealth rules now. Conditions for stealth. In order to avoid detection, you need some way to remain out of sight. Either something to hide behind or an area of poor visibility to locate yourself in. Stay out of sight. You can't stand in the middle of an empty lit room and hope to avoid notice. Something must conceal you. Perhaps a large object, a piece of terrain, or an immovable creature of a sufficient size, such as a slumbering dragon. Regardless of what stands between you and the viewer, it must cover at least half your body for you to hide behind it. Whoa. This is not in the core rule books or any of the books, and it's the most important text ever for hiding and surprise. Wizards of the Coast wrote this, and it never hit print. Why? I was in a Discord call when someone found this, like a few months ago. They were in tears laughing. When they showed me this, I felt robbed of my time and energy. I was stunned because I've probably argued with hundreds of people when it comes to this subject. It made me so angry. Let's continue reading. An environmental phenomenon that obscures you from view can also provide a means to hide. A heavily obscured area typically contains darkness, opaque fog, or dense foliage. A creature in a heavily obscured area is out of sight, just as if it were hiding behind an obstruction, and thus can try to hide. A lightly obscured area typically contains dim light, patchy fog, or moderate foliage. Some monsters and characters have special abilities that enable them to try to hide even in areas that are only lightly obscured. Yeah, same thing. Super important. I didn't have any questions. It's clear. There's no ambiguity, unlike what we have in the core rulebook involving heavily and lightly obscured. This is well written. Stay quiet is already in the core rulebook. Don't worry about that. This whole section called Conditions for Stealth is well written. There's no the DM decides or the creature usually sees you nonsense like we have in the core rulebook. Were you guys confused when I read this to you? Are you really going to defend the core rulebook when it comes to hide? I wish this was in the official rulebooks. I know some of you guys are going to argue something like they didn't put it in because they wanted to save page space. But that's a bad argument because they can just remove a page dedicated to an art piece and instead have it about this rule. Like for example, here's a DMG. Do we really need this random piece of art that takes the whole page in the middle of the chapter? No, that's ridiculous. And it's not like removing this would put the art to waste. They can just put it in the next book instead, like for example Sanathar's, you know? I think you get the point. Tell me in the comments, wasn't this just easier to understand than the official rules? I recommend you use the demo rules rather than the official rules. I want this in 5.5. If this isn't in the 5.5, I'm gonna cover it again. By the way, the time is nigh. The age of desolation is upon us. That's right, this video is sponsored by Aurora. Their Kickstarter ends in 48 hours. These are the same guys who made Grim Hollow, and they've collaborated with tons of other successful products in the past, so they know what they're doing. This is a new campaign setting for 5th edition that's set in a post-apocalyptic world that's been shattered into 5 realms. It's got dragons and dungeons in it. Look at this guy at the stairs. He's like, lol, martial classes, learn to spell. Not only do they offer years worth of adventure for your friends, they also offer unique mechanics that can improve your experience. Like brand new survival mechanics with defined rules that deliver a solid foundational structure for adventuring in these extreme environments for you to explore. They also improve the exploration pillar itself. I think that's an excellent idea. That brings more life to the game instead of just having the combat pillar dominate everything in the system. Players get fun stuff too. New character creation rules, species ancestral traits. There's a huge list of options to pick from, and you can probably make tons of unique builds out of them that are fun to play. Lastly, they're also evolving the advantage system into something more than that offers alternative benefits. As you can see, this looks like a fun adventure you'll remember for years with your friends. Aurora hopes to earn your support on their Kickstarter, just as I hope to earn your subscription. Remember, 48 hours left to support them. The time is nigh. The age of desolation is upon us.
Bye-bye.